How to tell my sister her toxic marriage is why I don't hang out with her anymore? I, 38F, am having trouble being there for my sister, 32F, and I'm not sure how to tell her why. I'm about 2 years out of a 17-year marriage that ended extremely badly. We had issues throughout the relationship, as well as a lot of fun, but in the last couple of years he was intensely controlling, abusive, and violent, and since he left I've done a lot of work to recover and get myself in a healthy headspace. My sister went through a rough patch around the same time my divorce started, and I learned way too much about her husband, 37M, during that period to ever trust him again. They've been together for years, and while he's never been my family's favorite, insufferable know-it-all, dominates every conversation, generally pretty annoying, we all just dealt with it because she loved him and we're adults. But since their rough patch, I haven't been able to be around him. During that time he served her with divorce papers and told her he was going to take their less than 1-year-old baby away and never let my sister see her again. He convinced my sister she would lose in court anyway, to the point that her plan was to give up, sign all the paperwork he gave her, and leave their baby while she moved out of state with our other sister. This all sounds bad, but my sister is extremely naive and also has the worst anxiety I've ever seen. She was convinced she'd lose their baby no matter what, and she was so broken down she didn't have it in her to fight. Anyway, she told me this plan and I successfully talked her out of it, got her a great lawyer, and she was on her way towards accepting their divorce and rebuilding her life when he suddenly changed his mind. They reconciled and have been acting like everything is fine ever since. During her eventually abandoned divorce, my sister was terrified of being homeless and not having anywhere to go. I was starting over too, so our plan was that I'd buy a triplex and she and her baby could live in one of the units, me in one, and our little brother, 22M, in the third one. I went ahead with that plan and have just been renting out my sister's unit and let her know it's there if she needs it. I cannot be around my sister's husband at all. I've seen it behind the scenes. I know he's abusing her emotionally and financially, and I strongly suspect physically too, although she'd never admit it. I am aware that the right thing to do here is to support her decision and grin and bear his company, but I can't do it. I get that it's immature of me, but the situation is too much like my own marriage, and I won't be within 100 feet of it. I especially don't want him in my new home, which for 2 years has been a happy, healthy, peaceful safe zone. My sister basically won't leave the house without this man, because of her anxiety and also his control issues, and they are literally always together. She posted on Instagram a few weeks ago about being sad and confused about why her family never spends time with her anymore. I'd like to gently explain the situation to her, but I'm not sure how to tactfully say it's not you, it's your awful abusive husband we can't stand. Looking for advice on how to softly tell her I'm here if she needs me but that I'm unwilling to be around her husband. Dr. How do I tell my sister that I love her and want a relationship but that I can't be around her abusive husband because he triggers my own relationship baggage?
This is tricky because right now, she's in a dangerous phase. The phase where they've reconciled, and it's them against the world. Understand first and foremost, anything you say right now will get back to him. My suggestion is to make it clear that you simply want to spend time with just her. Don't say it's an issue with him. Become a broken record and let her make the connection. It's really important to me that you and I can spend time together, just us. Can you find an opportunity for that? She's gonna push. You don't like him. And that's when you say, nope, that's not it. Nothing to do with him. It's really important to me that you and I have opportunities to spend time together. Just us. Keep him out of it. Will it be very obvious that he is the problem? Yes. Can you afford for those words specifically to get back to him? Nope. You'll lose them both. She will follow him because you'll become the enemy. Ask after him. He's good. Good to hear it. Call her for catch-ups. Make it clear you want the relationship with her. This is not about him, even though of course it is. As time goes on, and they go into different phases of this cycle, you'll be able to address things more directly. For now, I'd start here. Seconding other comments. You cannot tell her you don't like him, no matter how much you want to. I was in a similar situation with a friend and they're abusive, so was one of the most horrendous personalities I've ever met, and hated me to boot, but still insisted on coming along to everything my friend and I did together. I became very proactive about scheduling girls' nights, hangouts while So was out of town, and lots of activities So hated with a passion. It was a good way to spend time with my friend and avoid the So. I never badmouthed So, no matter how difficult it was. Thankfully, they broke up, and my friend is now seeing someone wonderful. I don't recommend cutting off your relationship with your sister, nor do I recommend telling her why. She needs to realize on her own that he sucks, and she needs to know she's still got someone who cares about her and will offer her an out if she seeks it. My sister is in a similar boat. I can't stand her husband, so I just told her that, so long as I have a home, she and her kids have a home. When she asked about her husband, I simply told her I don't like him. I think he's abusive towards you. I will never help him. I will always help you. She's been coming for visits without him more and more over the years and stays longer and longer each time. I suspect it's practice for the eventual divorce, but I don't mention it. It's her life, and she'll do it at her own pace. I'm just here to catch her if she falls. But yeah, let your sister know exactly where you stand, and that you'll always be there for her no matter what. A lot of people stay in bad situations because they don't have a way out. Having a guaranteed way out is empowering. Good luck. I was in an abusive marriage. When I left, my family came out of the woodwork saying I never liked him, etc. It was very hurtful. So now if I see a friend in a shitty relationship, I tell them. I would rather say something and lose a friendship than not say anything and something bad happen to them. Sometimes people just don't listen to reason. Just be there when they snap out of it, especially if it's running from an abusive relationship. They will appreciate you more in the long run because you were trying to stand up for her. I don't know what you can do legally, but I know there must be information out there on family of people in abusive situations. I get that it's immature of me, don't be so hard on yourself. You can't unlearn what you've seen. I would just tell her that. Even if she is unlikely to know how to process it, finding a good counselor for yourself could be an intro to her in the future. Respecting her choice just means that respecting it was hers to make, and she made it. Sister, I love you, and I accept your choice. But the way he behaved was unacceptable to me. I don't invite people into my life who treat others that way. I would end a friendship with any man who treated his wife the way he treated you. Just because you're ready to forgive him doesn't mean I am. I'm still angry with him, and I get to be angry with him. For our relationship as sisters to work, we are going to have to make time as sisters, without him involved. If he has a problem with her seeing you without him, and he will, you will need to point out to her gently but clearly that he is purposely isolating her from others who worked to protect her when he was at his most abusive, and who would try to protect her again if he decided to harm her again. You can respect her choice if she doesn't want to see you, but you'll be here for her when she changes that choice. All you can do is keep the door open and hope one day she walks through it. Whatever choices you make, know that the instant you tell her what you think of her husband, that it will probably get back to him, and that he will isolate her from you. He will not let her hang out with you one-on-one. He will not let you see their children. He will poison her against you, because that is how abusers keep control. You can't unopen that can of worms. First, I recommend individual therapy if you aren't already in it, and domestic abuse resources. Hotline 7. The person being abused is someone I know, not me option. Arm yourself with knowledge, because this is a minefield to walk. Then, you probably only really have two choices. Adopt a civil, but not warm relationship with her abuser, or not have a relationship with your sister until she leaves him, which she may never do. Narcissistic personality disorder support subs have great advice on how to be around narcissistic abusers. That are pretty good advice for being around any abuser. Info diet, grey rock, all that jazz. Treat him like a coworker you would never, ever interact with outside of work, but cannot tell how you feel, or you'd lose your job. Pretend he's the boss son everyone knows is a problem. With your sister, don't tell her what you think about her husband. Ask her what she feels. Create a safe environment for her to tell you the truth without feeling scared that you'll judge him or her for it. Like a teenager, you want to tell you if they are in trouble instead of getting upset with them for doing drugs or having unsafe sex or otherwise getting into trouble. It's also valid to not be in a place where you can do this. But it's unlikely you get to have both a relationship with your sister and no relationship with her husband. You're going to have to tread lightly, especially since she's in the pretending this is fine phase. You're going to have to be there for her during this phase and pry her away some before saying what you need to say. Tell her that, after going through what you went through, you can't be around men right now, that you need sister and girl time. Make it at places that are super girly or private, so his jealousy isn't triggered as much. Think pedicures. Going to those girly tea time places that old ladies love. Post pictures on social media showing it's just you and her in those places and tag her so he sees. You want him to think you're safe too. After a few months of that, then you tell her. You cannot. She's too vulnerable, too weak, too brainwashed and basically living in Stockholm Syndrome. Whatever you will say, she will say it to him. He has the upper hand here and will use his manipulative tactics to even further make her not to communicate with you. Your only option is time. At one point things will go from bad to worse. She will snap, say F this, and reach out to you. This may be in 2 years or 20 years, and you need to continue living your life while not eagerly waiting for her to reach out. She needs to understand she has made choices and those choices will impact how her family is with her. It sounds cold and pretty heartless, but as a narcissistic abuse survivor, you won't find the courage to leave until you are sick and tired of life. When committing suicide is just not an option you are willing to go through, the only thing left to do is flee. Live your life. Pray for her. When she reaches out to you, because she's done with him, you need to lay it out. We are getting you an attorney to get you free right now and get you a therapist right now. Him holding your phone, because I don't want you to see threats he's making to you. I'll get you a burner cell. We are going to the police and get a restraining order right now. This must be boom 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 quick, because she will be paranoid and afraid. If she's staying with you, you must get top of the line video surveillance. So, if he attempts to break in, it's on video, and that evidence could be used against him. So, be strong. It's going to be a long waiting game. Just be honest. I'm always here if you need me, and I'll come running when you're ready to get out of there. But I can't stand Chad and that's why I don't visit often. He knows you will try to convince her to leave, so any time she spends with you is dangerous for her. The abuse usually escalates when the abused gets close to leaving, or has just left. She knows very well why her family is not spending time with them. Leaving him will have to be her decision. Invite her to lunch as a girl's thing and offer to pick her up. If she declines, you'll know she's not allowed to leave or be with you without him. Have as much contact with your sister as you can, but leave any talk/text about him and divorce out. He probably is listening and checking her phone. The one thing you cannot do is give her reason to believe that it's because of him in particular. The reason for that is because in the situation she is in, she thinks that you don't approve of him or of their marriage. In fact, if she thinks anything other than that you support him and their marriage completely, there's every likelihood that it will cause her to dig in her heels and cling to him even harder. The issues with and within her marriage are an issue for another day. Right now the important part is for you to maintain a connection with your sister, both for your benefit and for hers. Can you draw on that sister connection and put it in terms about how you need to spend time with her, but because of what you went through in your own marriage? Tell her that you need some girls only time with just the two of you, nothing about your husband. No, I just need to not be around any men for a while, or something like that. Or tell her that you have stuff that you want to discuss sister to sister that's private. The goal here is to figure out ways of inviting her to spend time with you, without him, without it seeming like it's him in particular you are trying to exclude. If it's all men that you need to be away from because of your own history, or everyone but her you want to exclude because you have a private matter to discuss, you at least have a plausible reason to get together with her and not him. That won't put her on the defensive about him. I used to be in the same position as your sister and I can guarantee you that bad-mouthing him will only make her cling to him more. My best friend helped me get out of my abusive relationship, and she did it by always asking to hang out one-on-one. Never brought him up outside of how is he, and made it known that she was only there to see me. It took a few weeks before I put two and two together, but that was also with me going to therapy 3 days a week. Always support her, but not her relationship. Support her decisions on what she wants, like hanging out with family without him, work, etc, but don't bring up the relationship or him, because he'll use it against her, and I can guarantee he's already trying to use your family. Doesn't want you around because you're all avoiding him. Don't blame her for what's happening in the relationship, and don't use blaming terms. At any point you see her alone, always talk about other things and be her support outside of the home and for if/when she leaves. My advice may hurt you more than help, so maybe proceed with caution. She's in a situation similar to yours. Put yourself in her place, as you've evidently been in, and think what you would like to hear from your own sisters back then. What would have helped you when you felt like there's ultimately no getting away at the darkest point. Maybe it still feels too raw, but even she's more codependent of him than you were of your ex, or she's more anxious than you were. Think. I know you know what to say. Don't forget to take care of yourself too while trying to help her. She needs a lifeline, but you're totally in your right to take a step back if it feels like too much. You already know the words, "I love you," but because of the trauma of my own marriage and what I learned about your husband during your recent divorce proceeding, I can't be around him right now. I'll let you know when that changes. I appreciate your patience with me during my healing and processing time. I still would love to spend time with you and my nephew. Why don't we go get coffee/go to the zoo/hit some garage sales etc this Saturday morning? Just the three of us. I recommend trying the win method. Note, the structure is always when/it/next. There's always the one person who complains about this and thinks I is better. I disagree, and that's not the format of this method. Do what works for you and keep scrolling. WN. Insert problematic behavior. T makes me feel. Insert how it made you feel with full transparency. N. X time. Please, insert desired outcome and lay your boundaries down. After this, it's about enforcing your boundaries. Don't allow yourself to be distracted or baited. If someone disrespects your boundaries, leave/hang up/tell them to contact you when they are ready to respect your boundaries. Don't negotiate them. Stand by them. Maybe you can tell her you see so many of your ex-husband's actions in her husband's behavior that you just have to live and let live, cause you absolutely cannot be around him without it triggering those old feelings/memories. Tell her you don't want to tell her how to live her life, so you just stay away. I wish you both the best. This is also a good way to say it. Just wanted to say that you are a wonderful person, a solid support, and your family is lucky to have you in their lives. The strategy that top commenter developed is really smart. You need to help her by encouraging her to have a bank account in your name only, saving up money for her, getting her into therapy, and continuing to be there for her. Friend. Sometimes the truth is the best option. Tell her you love her and want to spend time with her alone. Let her know that you aren't capable of forgiving her husband, and as such you aren't willing to spend time around him. You have every right to feel the way you do. That said, your sister is smack in the middle of the make or break controlling phase that's fairly dangerous in most relationships. She almost had a way out with the divorce, but the husband likely backtracked when you got her a lawyer and he realized the win wouldn't be easy. I would just try to be there as I could be and help her to realize the situation she's in. She has to see it and want to escape. No one can help her but herself, unfortunately.